So I'm delighted to welcome you all to our Yoga Teachers Masterclass Special Edition. Today I am absolutely honored to be speaking to the renowned singer and songwriter Miten. A mystic, storyteller, teacher and sage, Miten has dedicated his life to the pursuit of meaning and truth through the medium of his beautiful, evocative music. So thank you so much for joining us for this special edition today.
Thank you, my love. I'm happy to be here, especially talking to an Irish girl. Makes me happier.
Very good. We were just saying off camera that you have Irish roots, right?
Yeah, apparently. I never knew my grandfather, but I just know that he came over from Ireland. My father was born in London, and then and my mother was Londoner, and then they moved out of London just after the war, and then they had me, and when I was in my late teenage years, and I moved back because that's where it was happening. All the whole explosion of the 60s was just beginning to kick off. The Rolling Stones were playing down the road, and you know, Eric Clapton was around, and John Mayall, Blues Breakers, and Van Morrison was coming and going. It was a great time, you know. It's a great time for a young man to be soaking up that explosion of creativity that was happening back there, because it led us also to root music, you know, the roots. It led us to the black musicians in America who played the blues, you know, and they were still alive, usually working in gas stations and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I think that search for the roots led me to meditation eventually, you know. Mm-hmm. That's what led me to meditation, and that's what led me to yoga and the whole journey. And it began right back there in the 60s, you know.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously you had a really strong interest in music, but how did you end up going down the journey of mantra music? Like, how did that all begin?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first time I heard mantra music was in Osho's ashram in Pune in India. Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. His ashram was full of music. It was filled with music. And I just come there kind of washed up, really, kind of washed up on that seashore from a world of kind of overindulgence in drugs and alcohol and sex and whatever else, you know, in London, in the music business, because it is a business, you know. And that had been my work and my job. I was a songwriter and a singer, and I toured with some big bands and all that. So I kind of had a apprenticeship, but I never heard music that was made for any other reason than to make money or to be sort of, you know, that's what I grew up in. So to hear music that was born out of silence, and it wasn't English saying, "I love you, baby," or "You left me and I feel bad," you know. It was like Sufi chants and Sanskrit chants, you know, and it just and then you get like 1,000 people all singing this together. And then when I heard that, you know, and that was how it was in the ashram. There'd be like thousands of people, and they'd be from all over the world, all different nationalities. And well, that sun is really strong, isn't it? Just a minute. I think that's better. It's right in my face.
Yeah, that's better.
That's even worse. Wait a minute. Oh my God.
Is it okay? It's not shining on the screen. Well, it's a little bit. No, it's better now. Yeah, that's better.
Hit me right in the eyes. So yeah, so then there was a music that I'd never, come across before, and that was music for the pure and simple reason to express gratitude, and to open up another dimension, because sound is so powerful. We all know sound is powerful because we are touched by the sound of a baby laughing in a different way than we are to the sound of a police car siren, for instance. Different sound, different responses in the body. So that's when I found out that these mantras, they were created thousands of years ago by scientists. You know, they were there. That was the science of the time, was how sound affected the body. That's what they were experimenting with, and they found out that certain sounds really create different responses in the body. And so, you know, that was the beginning of mantra. That was the beginning, and they refined these sound bites to such a degree that they knew how many times, how many cycles you had to do before it started to resonate. 108. And so, you know, I just came into a different world, and I was learning how to meditate. I was learning what meditation was. Osho wasn't big on tradition, though. You know, he wasn't like, you know, the men one side of the ashram and the women the other side and things like that. And, you know, I think one of his greatest gifts was that he encouraged us to express ourselves without any preconception of what we should be doing, whether it should, you know, so we never got into, say, playing harmonium and singing kirtan in that way. The Indian disciples used to do that, but all us old hippies, we like to play reggae and blues, you know, and he was like, good, you know, create in your comfort zone, and then that will move you beyond, you know, but start there. And what I didn't know was Deva, who I hadn't met at that point, had been born to the sound of the Gayatri mantra. Her father had been, her parents were chanting it all through the conception, all through the pregnancy, and she was born to the sound of the Gayatri mantra. And that was her story. That was her good night story, good night song, every night until she was about 11 years old. And then she and they showed her a video of Bhagwan. She didn't understand. She's German, so she didn't understand what he was saying, but she just recognized this was her guru, and from that day on, she became his disciple, and he gave her the name Deva Premal, which means divine loving, little girl, 11 years old, you know. And then we met when she was 20, and in the ashram in India, and we played music together for a few good years, and then when she was 28, so 8 years, she was about 27, we left India, and she began chanting the Gayatri mantra. And that's when I really got into the difference between, you know, like emotional based music and music that's beyond emotion and into the soul. And so once we reconnected with the Gayatri mantra, or Deva reconnected with it, and I started to learn how to play it and how to make it feel like a song that we could play. We've been flying around the world on the wings of the Gayatri, really, for the last, it was 30 years ago. Me and Deva have been 30 years together next year.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Amazing.
And talk to us about how the music really integrates with your life, because you mentioned a little bit about that before we started the interview. But
well, it is my life. I don't do anything else in my life. Honestly, I don't do anything else. I'm never, you know, I don't go on a vacation or anything. This is it. And, you know, I mean, I sit on these stages that we play to thousands of people now every night. There's 2,000 people in Amsterdam here, you know, and nobody comes to judge anybody. We all come as the Sangha. We all come because we want to meditate and sing together and meditate together and laugh together and recognize each other, you know. So that's all I do, and that's why I keep going, because I honestly can't think of anything better to do. You know, we spend like really all year we're playing and singing, but we have times like in Corfu in Greece, where we have 2 months where we stay there, July and August, and we have 3 programs down there. So we have like 2 months in the same bed, which is a long time for us. And then we have 4 months in Australia in the winter up here. So we go there at the end of November until March. So we have those, and there we play, and we play down in Australia. We do some concerts down there and a workshop. And so it goes, you know, we just, that's what we do. So it's just integrated. There's nothing else that that interests me, really, you know, not really. It's you know, I mean, you know, you know, it's a funny thing to talk about in a way, because we're so loved by the people who come, and we just have this love fest, you know, and it's, and you know, we know that they've given birth to their kids with the mantras, and they've, you know, they've played at the mantras, and you know, when their parents are dying, you know, or at the funeral, and this kind of, we're, you know, and making love too. People tell us, oh, we put your music on when we make love, it's great, you know. So it's, for me, it's what happened with the yoga, in yoga, was that we just happened to put the Essence out in 1990, I think, in 1990. What year was the Essence, Deva? Oh, she's got headphones in. Anyway, the Essence was there wasn't really a yoga scene in Europe back then. You're not like there is now. Where are you based, actually?
I'm Ireland, so I'm in Europe, and definitely we're behind London, and you know, London's behind the States for sure.
Yeah, but oh, so you're in Ireland now?
Yeah.
Where
I'm just outside Dublin. I'm in County Meath, but I'm just beside the Dublin border.
Oh, you know, Luca Bloom is a real good friend of mine.
Yes, yeah, it's amazing.
He's a great guy, a beautiful musician too, huh?
Yeah.
So, you know, so music is our life, and it's our way of expressing our gratitude, you know, and our understanding of what meditation is. And the mantras open the door so that you can step into a space of inner peace, and making friends with your inner being, yourself, you know, because when you close your eyes, that's us in there. There's nobody else. Nobody can get in there. No government, no religion, organization. That's us in there. So are we at peace with that space, you know? And that's what meditation can do. It can bring you a sense of, oh yeah, okay, I'm a little disturbed here. I'm thinking this and thinking that. I should be answering emails and stuff like that, you know?
Right.
You go a little further, a little deeper, you sit a little longer, don't move, just breathe. And before long, you start to feel good. And that's, voila, that's me. That's my reality. You know? When I put everything away, no movement, no mind, I feel good.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about, you were speaking about your live performance, and you're performing live all the time. And I suppose there's an amazing atmosphere, right, when you go to a live event like that. How do you recreate that when you're recording in the studio? Is it this, you know, do you prefer one or the other, or like what happens when you go to record?
That's really a good question. Because, you know, to try and like grasp something that's magic and then squeeze it onto a piece of plastic, that, you know, that becomes an experience in itself. It's something I've tried all my life, ever since I first went into a recording studio. You know, how does that work? And the last album, Devotee, this album I just did, I think it's in a way, all Deva's albums have been, you know, like kind of like little works of art. That's how I see them, you know. And Devotee, I wanted it to feel more like more spontaneous feeling to it, you know. So one thing that helped me was changing my guitar style from acoustic guitar, which is, and I have a guitar made by a really great luthier, Irish luthier, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called a Loudon. George Loudon, I think his name is George. I'm not sure. I never met him, but the Loudon guitars are renowned. They're beautiful instruments, but they're acoustic, and acoustic is you know, acoustic is a sensual instrument. It's got air. It has air. It breathes. It responds to the physiology of the musician, you know. Whereas electric guitar, you can just go bing like this and turn up the amp, and it sounds like thunder, you know, and you don't have to do anything. So I wanted to play electric guitar again, and I hadn't played it for years, and it opened up a whole dimension to the music. So and we recorded it in Australia. And with the guys, the band, our road band, the Temple Band, and we brought everybody down to Australia. And I told them, hey, guess what? I'm playing electric guitar. Whoa. And so we had it gave us another palette, you know, and it made it kind of easy for us to create music that I wanted to create, which was music that allowed and encouraged and supported the concept of letting go, whatever that means. You know, what I mean by that is where you, like with meditation, where you forget your personal troubles and your worries and your wishes and your visions and your dreams and desires, but you're just there in the moment, and you know, with yourself, and that music is made to support those special moments, you know. And so we had a framework, you know. I could say to the guys when we were playing or jamming or looking at new pieces that I'd made, or, you know, we'd play it, and I could say to them, hey, could you die to this, this piece of music? And, you know, I would say to the keyboard player, or, you know, also, if you go too far out, could you die to that? No, you don't want to go there. So then we had a kind of framework where it was like, you know, music to die to. This is music to die to, you know. And it's not mournful. It's not like you know, the sort of Christian understanding of death and darkness and hell and hellfire and all that. It was like, there's some reggae on the album. You know, you can die dancing too. You know, you can die with an uplifted spirit. You know, and one song that I chose, the lyrics were the last words of Jesus. Into your hands I lay my spirit, into your hands I lay my life. And I loved that. I first heard that in the ashram. We used to sing it. Someone would sing it in the ashram, and it was always, you know, an uplifting experience for the spirit to sing those words. And I thought it would be nice to create some music around those words. And so between me and Spencer, the keyboard player, and Joby, the bass player and producer, we kind of created that Into Your Hands I Lay My Spirit. And I find that to be a very beautiful piece, you know, really happy. And I feel like, you know, this is kind of an achievement for me after all the music I've made. And I'm really going back to the first time I was in the studio was in the 60s, you know. And this album, this Devotee, it was made after my open heart surgery that I had last year, and so it felt like, okay, this could be my last album, and I felt like you never know,
Right.
because I didn't know I didn't really know I had any more songs coming, but when you've got great friends who are great musicians and they all want to play with you, songs come and a creativity happens. It's communal. It's like you in a yoga class. If there are more people, there's more energy and there's more focus somehow. And it's a bit like that. So I'm around really good, young, creative people, and I say to them, if I have one wish for you guys, it's that when you get to my age, you're surrounded by people like yourselves, like creative young people, because that's a great gift for an old guy like me now. I'm very, I didn't expect what I got, I couldn't have dreamed this life to be with my beloved partner for 30 years and watch her blossom into a singer. She wasn't singing when we met, Deva,
Yeah.
Just to be in each other's company all through her growing years, all through the 20s and 30s and 40s. Now she's coming up to 50 this year, and that'll be her 50th birthday and our 30th year together.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
so cool.
And we've been playing the whole time, really.
And your new album, it's described as a collection of songs that roll, meander, roar, and swirl like a river gliding with ceaseless energy towards the sea. That's amazing, right?
That's it. That's good. That's the way it is. Because there was not so much structure. So you could feel it was like a river. I would just begin with, that song Eyes Ocean. There's no real chord sequence, There's no structure to it. It's just like making it up in the studio, but from a meditative space. So and it's so everybody is in the moment. That's the that's the trick, and that's what I learned. What you were asking me about live music and how do you do it in the studio? You have to. Usually, what you do is you plan it all. So in the studio, because you don't want any mistakes, and you don't want anybody improvising when you don't want them to improvise, But in this case, that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be open. I wanted to say hello to the songs early on with the musicians, so that they responded to what they were first hearing in the moment, and. Because they're so good that it's not like there's no mistakes. It's always an embellishment, whatever it is. So it was a great journey, and it did feel a bit like, oh yeah, okay. After all these years, this is the closest I've come to expressing something of the beauty and the gratitude that I feel, and the beauty that I've come across all these years, And I have to thank Osho, whatever people think of him, he was very misunderstood. But when you're a guru, you know you're going to be misunderstood.
Right. And
And
obviously, he's still influencing you.
yeah,
new album.
Yeah, once you come across your guru, it's a strange kind of love, because it's not the love that we associate with love. Like usually we associate love with our beloved ones, or our parents, or our kids, or our friends, that kind of love where you're physically connected in some way. I never touched Osho, but I was overwhelmed, and it's so weird to try and tell anyone. This is just, are you gone bonkers or something, Something's crazy going on, and you can't, there's nothing you can do. So you can't justify it. You just have to live it and be around people that understand, because they've been zonked by the same feeling. And, you find that's what a sangha is. It's just people, misfits, and and kind of people who are looking for something that doesn't even exist, you know. That's a funny thing, because when you know, all the masters, they tell us in the end, enlightenment, you know, it just is nothing, is nothingness. So, you know, you're chasing nothingness for all your life. And you're like, where is it? And the masters are saying, you know, all you have to do is stop. Just stop for a while. You're all, you know, everybody's in forward motion, you know. Stop. And that's what this music does. It gives you the opportunity to say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to stop and put this album on for a while, you know, and go on that journey with us, you know.
Yeah. And have the different tracks on it, have they all been influenced by mantras that have been handed down to you, or is there completely new material on it that you've written yourself from scratch, or what can we expect?
Yeah, there's no mantras on this album. It's
No
songs, yeah. But they're kind of mantric, you know. They're kind of mantric, but they're English, because that's how I most comfortably express myself, you know. So like the first song, "An Ocean Refuses No River," I didn't write that lyric, but I resonate with it, and then things like, you know, you can dance when you walk, you know, that, hey, don't forget to dance when you walk, you know, keep a little spring in your step. That gives a little lightness to being, you know, you can dance when you walk. And so things like that, you know, and then, you know, bring me your love. Bring me your body, your blood, and your bones. You know, bring everything. You know, bring everything. You know, bring me your love. So yeah, that's the kind of things that we were singing, and yeah, we did it in the studio. And Deva and me and Joby were singing, and Joby's daughter was singing. She's a great singer. So it's family job, you know, family affair.
Amazing. So have you got an all-time favorite song that you can like say is your top favorite out of everything that you've done?
Oh, that I've done, or that?
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe if you have one of your own and one
that's a good.
in general.
The two songs that came to me immediately when you said that was "Like a Rolling Stone" by Bob Dylan,
Love it.
and "Hey Jude" by the Beatles. But Paul sang that so great, and it was just such a great vocal that he sang. It was that Paul McCartney at that point. He was. I mean, he's still great and everything, just because he's Paul. But wow. The focus he had as a young man was phenomenal. And, you know, John, I saw them, you know, I never met them, but I saw them when I was a young guy. I think the ones that I feel like I feel like have done some good in the world, and some of the songs I didn't write, like for instance, "So Much Magnificence Near the Ocean." That was an ashram song, and but I took it, and you know, again, it's as close as I got to that, transferring the energy of a live piece of music onto the plastic. And "So Much Magnificence" got close to that, the hallelujahs. And I feel that I'm happy that I made that song my own in my own way. I feel like that became my expression of who I am, even though it was created, or the words were created by, actually the words were created by Kabir. I think he was like a 14th century poet, Kabir. Osho spoke about him. So much magnificence. So that one was one of my favorites. From this album, I'm very happy with "Bring Me Your Love." I like the lyrics that I normally I wouldn't have lyrics like "Bring me your body" and "Bring me your blood and your bones," you know, but it just felt like so primeval somehow, and so yeah, so primal, and it just opened a thing for me to say, hey, you know what, bring me your secrets, you know, and you know, I'll have them and I'll keep them, and you know, so it's a deep song, and I like it very much. I'm very happy that that one came.
Mm.
You know, most of my songs are just written. Really, they're not written. I don't write them down really.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I write songs these days is if they want to come, then I'm open to them coming. I welcome them, but I'm not going to imprison them. So if I approach them again the next day, if they're still there and they still want to be with me, then the song begins to grow, you know?
Yes.
I'd rather write something down and then chase that. I used to chase songs. That was my job in the, you know, in the 70s in London. That was my work. I was chasing songs, writing songs, trying to get more hits, and trying to, you know, and all that stuff. And it was all mixed up with money. And it's just like, it just crushes your spirit. That's why I came to yoga and meditation and everything. My spirit was screaming out, you know, it had just been like trampled on by the music industry.
Right, and what you're doing at the moment sounds like it's much more a much more creative way to write and to
Well,
the more organic growth of the
yeah,
music.
yeah, it is. It is. When we started making this music, after the experience I'd had, I just knew that I wasn't going to give this music to anybody else, and I wasn't going to let anybody else tell me what to sing or what to play or what to have on the cover or anything. You know, it was just me and Deva. We were going to do it on our own. And that's it. You could do that back then, you know, in the 80s. You could make you know, it was just at the birth really of home studios, you know. So we made Deva's first album in her mother's apartment where she was born, to the sound of her parents chanting the Gayatri Mantra. We actually recorded it in the room, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And
There has to be great energy there.
incredible energy there. When she finished singing, she said to us, and me and Rishi, we were in the other room with the mixer and everything and the speakers, and she was in the other room with the microphone so that it was no bleed, you know, from sound. And when we heard Deva singing the Gayatri like that, it was a real aha moment, you know, because she'd up to that point she'd been quite shy with her singing. She had a bit of a German accent, and she was singing my songs, and so, you know, she was learning how to sing my songs, but it was my songs. It wasn't her expression there. She didn't have that until she found the Gayatri, and then my role in that was that the apprenticeship that I'd had all through those rock years was now coming to fruition, and I could support this young woman in her expression with this amazing thing called the Gayatri Mantra. To me, it was like, you know, it was like something from another planet, and it still is. The timing, the structural, rhythmical timing, and the structure of it is totally unusual. So it doesn't sound like that to somebody who doesn't know it, but to a musician, it's like, what? You know,
That's funny.
changing. You know.
I absolutely love the Gayatri Mantra. It's the first mantra that I was ever taught.
Yeah.
So I love it.
You got the right one. You know, that's the only. When people say, "Oh, can you give us a mantra?" I say, you know, there's so many different mantras. There's mantras for there's mantras for, like the Ganesh mantra is a mantra that you chant when you feel stuck, you know, in your life. That's a good mantra to have when you feel stuck. It will start me moving that stuff and make the flow free again, you know. And there's mantra for, you know, there's mantras. There's even a mantra for finding a life partner, you know. I don't know if there's a mantra for getting rid of the life partner once you found them. I don't know. I don't think there's a mantra for getting rid of anyone. But maybe, I don't know. You know, I'm not really a scholar. Deva, we're not real. We're not pundits. You know, Deva is incredible, but we wouldn't call ourselves experts or anything like that. You know. We respond in a more sensual way, you know, like Deva she'll come with a mantra that she likes the sound of, you know, or likes the rhythmical cadence or something, you know, and then other times she'll say, oh, this is a really nice mantra to learn. It's for children, you know, so something like that. Oh yeah, okay.
Amazing.
That's for the children. Kumara. You can see that on YouTube. I don't know whether you know that one.
No.
Kumara. If you go to YouTube, OM, and then Kumara, 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 and somebody did a great video of that, and it's you can see it on YouTube. We didn't do it, but it's somebody did it, and it's very good.
I'm definitely going to look that one up.
Yeah, you should check that out. It's a beautiful one. And there's also some good, you should go and have a look at some of the videos that we did. On the last album, my last album, which was called Temple at Midnight, I recorded a Beatles song, John Lennon's song on there. And there's such a nice video that we did in Woodstock of that song, Norwegian Wood. You know Norwegian Wood? I once had a girl.
Yes.
She once had me. That one, yeah.
Love it. So before we finish up, because I know we've run a little over, but I'm really enjoying the conversation. I could keep going. Can you let everybody know about the new album, when it's out, where they go to get it? All of that. I think it's the 25th of October. It's next Friday, yeah. Right?
You know more than me, so you tell me.
So next Friday, Amazon and iTunes?
I guess so. I guess the usual channels. If people go, what we found out that like our last albums, they all go to #1 in iTunes and the Amazon, because all our friends go out and buy it, you know, and get it from Amazon and iTunes, and we go right to the top of the charts.
Well, hopefully everybody watching this interview today will go and get you to the top of the charts.
I'm a bit old for that now, I think. I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, no, definitely. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and good luck with the album launch.
Thank you.
And hopefully we will get to speak to you again sometime soon.
Oh, I hope so. Nice to talk to you.